And when you have Ezreal and Jace and Talia playing around these objectives, you're just going to chip away at the opponent's HP bar. The question is, can you really do that against someone like Scout on his Azir, where he's going to have a lot of presence, and also the split push threat of Zika on this Jax. There aren't really great options to shut him down. He's going to get to a point where he becomes unstoppable in the side lane, so their ability to play around these objectives is going to be very difficult for Fnatic to manage as well.
I'm also worried on that note of Zika. On the Jax, this is a pick that is constantly banned away against him in the LPL. It's more importantly a pick that he has lane presence on as well. And when we talked about this team bringing together Oscarinin back into the top lane, it is a bit of a concern, Vedius, because, you know, Fnatic, what little did we see of this top laner again? We saw one to fill in the position.
The irony was on Renekton.
Yeah. And so you're wondering, what form are Fnatic going to be in? Because this is our first good look at them in a long while.
It certainly is. LNG have shown a lot of data throughout the playoffs, throughout the regional gauntlet.
Lots and lots. Lots of BO5s.
A lot
lots
of
Game 5s as well.
Whereas Fnatic, they qualified without even having their main top laner. But still, he will be on that Renekton in the top lane. LNG, I do like what they've drafted for themselves. Yep. They too, I think, have gotten a lot of comfort picks. And while players like Humanoid and Razork have a lot of experience in the international stage, a player like Noah doesn't. This is his first time. The pressure can get to him. He can definitely feel those nerves. But he's a player that, when he's in the right mindset and he's given the right resources, can be a massive, massive carry player. Going up against Gala, though, is going to be no easy feat.
True.
I'm excited. I know you're excited. EU versus LPL.
Oh, hell yeah.
Second seed versus third seed. I'm hoping for a banger. We start off with a pretty standard line of scrimmage. Nothing too crazy to boot. Looking for those early wards, though. Zika trying to get some vision on the red buff.
We'll do so. No hassle, no harm, as Razork starts towards Raptors as well.
Ooh, you'll notice that ward in the river as well to track for a potential Tarzan EQ over the dragon buff to go for a potential blue buff steal. Blue, very important on a champion like Talia, so Fnatic want to make sure that that one is not yoinked away.
Tarzan great at exemplifying resources, taking what's his, really. Anything on the map is going to be his. As already the trades start aggressively up in the top side. Bettis, I got to say, I'm hoping this one a little bit closer than what we saw first seed versus fourth seed before. Yep. NRG versus Weibo. Just had to bring it up. But LNG are a different beast. We're talking about it a little bit in draft. If you missed the conversation, this team, our slowest LPL team, I think I'd put them akin to old school LCK as, look, Zika, not proving my point for the time being, but don't expect as much bloodthirsty action like a level 2 gank bot.
But something that you talked to me extensively about is often a lot of their early leads just come from solo kills, right? Like just individual performances from, it could come from anywhere on the map, but Scout is often the player we look at as like being able to find those kills. And then off the back of that, all of a sudden LNG could look to blow the game open, or they can just use their control to steadily but securely build up their lead.
I mean, it's clean performances like that that netted him the best MVP throughout the entire year. As Hung and Gala getting pushed back in their own lane, at least Fnatic's bottom lane. Pushing the aggressive for the time being.
Everything going relatively even. You can see a bit of a CS deficit in the mid lane. Conqueror once again for Scout. Zika continuing his pressure in top lane. Nice trade there from Humanoid. We'll use the phase rush to get away to safety. Keep my eyes on the jungle once again. Razork. When you see things like Talia and Renekton, often it's a lane that is great for that combo specifically. It's the same reason why Nidalee Renekton was such a powerful combo too.
Oh yeah.
So I was actually kind of expecting him to path towards the top side of the map and look for some early ganks. He's going to walk over this ward. He has full information that it's there. We'll look to clear that one out. But now Tarzan making his way top.
Timing's huge. Counter-strike there, used early. Oscarinin feels safe, but welcome back to the stage, buddy. Tarzan looking to burn the flash, flags out, but holds on to the trigger.
Great awareness there from Oscarinin. I definitely know that I would have died to that gank. Oh, nice E there from Zika as well, mitigating the stun from Oscarinin, hoping to get a good trade. Tarzan using this as an opportunity to get deep vision on the Raptors that are respawning now. Is he going to start those off? Because Razork dropped a ward of his own on the bottom Raptors. Question is, can he actually get here in time? The smite is up from Tarzan. Wouldn't be surprised to see him smite that one just so that he can get away to safety. Should
be super easy. Does exactly what you say, Vetti, and walks away. It's crazy going from that last one, like Weibo's pace, to this, right? This is the thing about LPL. when you go from games like that to this and you're like, man, it's 4 minutes in the game, no one's died. What's going on? Why does this feel so strange?
I mean, Fnatic is also the type of team that can very quickly balloon a game out of control.
Like this, maybe.
Don't be surprised when you see Razork looking for like those level 3, level 4 invades. Are they threatening a dive here?
It's
Tarzan's on the way.
Wave. I mean, I'd be scared. There's a flash straight away. Zeka gonna flash away. Straight up, he's got some help though. Tarzan's coming in and they haven't done the damage. Oh no, Oscarinin gonna get knocked up, first blooded, and Tarzan now in a beautiful spot as Razork dodges away from the turret aggro, but this guy is gonna hammer you down. He's the king after all. Razork running for the hills, trying to slow down, but if Scout doesn't kill him, Tarzan sure will give it over to the Azir, and LNG punish.
And they're going to hand the blue buff over to Scout as well, giving him that advantage in the mid lane. Fnatic tried too hard to force that play. They wanted to make something happen, relieve some of the pressure from Oscarinin, but they went too deep. Tarzan was in a position to counter, and he does just that. 1k gold lead now to LNG.
That is disaster early game here, especially when Zika gets mitigated, stays alive. A guy who's so prominent on this Jaxus now, you can see. He wants to go all in. Six is not hit yet, but that's some great damage. And Oscarinin is just forced out. But all those resources given over to some of the carries we talked about, like Tarzan, like Scout, who are now hitting their level 6 or getting close to, as we look at it again.
I mean, the idea is good, you know? The flash in, but the problem is it's not synced up. Once Oscarinin is flashing in, Razork kind of needs to commit to the flash as well. And he uses all of his damage there, so the moment Tarzan arrives, there's nothing that they can do. Zika walks away to safety, and now they're threatening a dive top.
Now we're going to show you how we do it, but there's no jungle intervention. Dominus used those to Renekton doing what Renekton does best, but all it takes from Zika is one more bob. But the wave is gone, so he survives.
Nice play there from Oscarinin. He was only level 5. He eat into the creeps, Q'd to get the level up, and then pops the ultimate at the last second, which fully builds up his Fury bar and gets him away to safety. So well played there from Oscarinin. Won't give another kill over to LNG.
Has teleport as well, so he won't lose any CS. It's getting crashed into the turret. So for LNG trying the dive, both dives unsuccessful in their own ways so far from our two teams as Scout. Might get hit here. Trimby setting it up, Shattering Strike. He reads it, but he won't get the Shifting Sands away. Instead, he gets knocked back on in. Scout jukes it out. Okay. Thinks he's going one way, but goes the other.
Yeah, the E wasn't quite interrupted by Trimby. A nice play, did use the Ignite, forces back, but Scout doesn't lose the flash. Maybe he's forced to go back to base, but he does have that health pot, so he's going to say, you know what, I'm fine. Tarzan is covering me. Great work here between the mid jungle of LNG and Fnatic. That deficit hasn't gotten any bigger, but still concerns start to rise when you look at the scoreboard and you see Tarzan with that early kill and Scout right behind him.
But at least for the side of Fnatic, going to clench some of the gold for now as Oscarinin turret plating, plus he's also got a CS lead. Close to 2 plates actually, and the minions will help him get it. It's a huge amount of gold here for the Renekton that was already 10 CS up with an Iron Spike whip, so feels really nice to say that his return, his debut back on this Fnatic roster, so far, despite the dive not going well, I think you'd say is relatively successful.
Yeah, I mean, it's not all doom and gloom just yet for Fnatic. The deficit is pretty much non-existent thanks to Oscarinin's, well, turnaround in the top lane 1 versus 1. He's now reset. We'll come back with the Iron Spike whip and the Phage. So he's looking pretty solid. Talia needs to go back to base. And remember, we saw this earlier with Cloud9. Sure, Renekton will eventually get outscaled, but Talia, if she keeps power farming against the Jarvan, she's going to continue to get stronger. The poke is only going to continue to get stronger from Fnatic. Very reminiscent as well of that G2 Damwon series where D+, my apologies.
Yeah, right.
D+, when they got their Varus and their Azir ahead, you saw how devastating that poke could be. So Fnatic just looking to try and do that same thing as LNG will secure this Herald for themselves, largely uncontested. Still Dragon up on the map. It looks like Fnatic are going to respond in kind.
But I just love, you saw on the, thanks to our observers, Hung backs away at the Herald timer and threatens to roam with Tarzan as he normally does. This guy's proximity to jungle is high. He's pretty much like on from BLG, who we'll be seeing next. He syncs up with Tarzan consistently on some of these engaged supports, like you're seeing, who has level 6 now, and starts making plays across the map. So look for that, as the lane proximity to each other isn't really all that high. Zika included, by the way. Some of those fights, some of those early objective fights could be coming from LNG. As it's only a 200 gold lead, but we're still waiting to see when those first items come across, as Dragon, at least for Fnatic, is picked up to open up.
A slow and steady early game. Honestly, kind of what we expected. You already set up how LNG typically like to play the game. Mid to late game is really where this team kind of explodes. Their team fighting is incredibly terrifying. Obviously, Fnatic not really coming in as the favorites in this matchup, but a best of one, a lot can happen. And our eyes are going to be on what Razork can do with this Taliyah.
Favorite says who? Maybe they are the favorites, Vettis. Who decides?
Me. I'm deciding.
You're really deciding.
I've said LNG
I thought you were going to
are the
support
favorites
EU.
in this matchup. I can support them with also having realistic jet-lagged eyes, okay? I can. My eyes may be physically in pain right now, but
you're still
I
here, man.
I can see the advantage that LNG is coming in with. I mean, you got to remember, like I was having this argument with Kobe, right? He was like, he thinks that they've been underestimated coming into this tournament, you know? A team that pushed JDG, the tournament favorites, to 5 games multiple times.
Yep.
You're like, why shouldn't they be sitting at the top? Why shouldn't they be considered one of the top teams?
Close.
Nice dodge there from
But you're right.
Noah. And, but, you know, like, it's understandable why they should be rated that high. And, like, there are many analysts out there that do rate them that high, right?
A scout, ulti's out. Okay, there's a flag and drag. Cataclysm down. This is why the mid jungle of LNG is so fierce. Tarzan and Scout, they're bros.
It's a clean execution. And what else is there to say? Humanoid burned the flash, made it easy for Tarzan to lock him down. Now the Herald is here. Trimby and Razork are going to try and mitigate the damage. But the damage is done. TP is available for Humanoid, or it should be in, at the very least, a few seconds.
Yep.
So you should be able to get back to lane. You can see how LNG, slowly but surely, securing that lead. And it's exactly the way that you described it. Getting a couple early kills early, and it's not about snowballing out of control. It's about slowly taking your time. And Humanoid, you just wasn't expecting Scout to be in that bush, and how quickly LNG converted that into a kill.
It's so scary when you see resources on Scout, especially as well. Not only the pace being comfortable, but a 2-kill Azir here for Scout as Hung pops the quickness. Now looking to knock up Razork, zoning him out, waiting for that flash out. He tried to predict it, and the patience is there. Scout with another. Stop giving him kills.
You can't, man. He's the LPL's MVP for a reason, and it's crazy to see this synergy. Scout, Tarzan, Hung, just moving so fluidly together. There's an opportunity, they're quick to take it. 4-0 now, the kill score in favor of LNG. 1.5k the gold lead.
Again, Fnatic, limited options here. We've seen that top play, but apart from that, I guess Oscarinen with some lane leads.
But it's, to me, something you described, excuse me, something you described
yeah.
something you described perfectly, which is LNG aren't necessarily the most proactive team, but they're fantastic at punishing your mistakes. And look at how small this mistake is from Razork. He's just trying to clear a ward in the river, but Scout has priority. Hung is in a position to punish, and Tarzan is making his way through the bottom of the river, right? Everything lines up, and they're just so quick to react to these tiny mistakes that teams will make.
Like this, not doing due diligence, clearing the ward. Of course, Lens is not available, unfortunately, for Razork. But information gathered, Tarzan starts moving up, and look at Hung. Again, not in lane, he's deciding to play ball with Tarzan. Peekaboo! Flag and drag doesn't work, he's like Cataclysm instead. Locked down as Fnatic might punish this. LNG, have they gone too far? Hung now roams on in, quickness is not available, but has the engage, and Fnatic are just gonna have to watch him walk out. Maybe?
Scout now on his way.
The engage is there, good flick back, but onto Razork. Scout boops him away. And straight away, his 4th kill. Now Trimby, Oscarinen in a bad spot as Zika might turn this into a solo kill. This Jax doing it by himself, jumps on in. The rest of LNG watching a Scout, gets his flash out as well. Trimby might be next on the menu, boys, as LNG are 5-0 up. Noah in trouble, but is it Gala really as Humanoid makes a roam down? And finally, it looks like Fnatic are going to strike. It is a trade across the map, though, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for Fnatic, they get 2.
Fnatic are able to get something back, but the problem we're consistently seeing is Scout's priority in mid means that he is always able to move first.
Yep.
Every single play that is happening, it is Tarzan and Hung. And just look at the minimap right now, you can see push in top lane for LNG, push in mid, and this is how Tarzan uses that information so well. misses the EQ combo, lands the ultimate, gets forced back. But who's the first to collapse? Of course, it is Scout. Makes his way over towards the plate. Razork sticks around too long trying to secure that red buff, which he is just not allowed to contest. And it's another kill going in favor of Scout. Oscar Rinin tries to come and help, but Zika's right behind him. LNG is playing with their pressure so well, and Fnatic is getting torn apart bit by bit.
Slow burn coming through. Now, a couple of kills out for Fnatic can't be understated, but it depends on this next fight as Dragon goes over to LNG. We come back from the replay into a live party. A good charm in the end, as well as Razork's burning down, because Gala is now going to have his say. Demacia returns with a massive arena in the mix. 3 more dead, and LNG continue to fight fire with their own fire.
3 kills and a Dragon to boot. Fnatic get nothing off the back of that play. The only reason this goal gap doesn't look worse is because of Oscar Rinin securing that tower in the top lane. Scout is so far ahead. I talked about being excited about this mid lane matchup, but it's just LNG doing a fantastic job of every tiny mistake Fnatic make. LNG is there to punish it.
That MasterCard lane economy was huge. I mean, Scout Humanoid, it's our matchup, but is it close? Ladies and gentlemen, you can answer that one yourself. Almost 3,000, 6-0 versus 1 and 2. And Vedius, I love how you said it. The priority's been used so well. Scout's getting it first. He's moving. And on this Azir, he now has 2 items versus only 1 for Humanoid.
It's a rough situation for Fnatic to be in. And LNG can just take their time. There's no need to rush anything. The Herald is going to be uncontested. You can see Humanoid. I think he may be even setting a bit of a freeze in bot lane. He doesn't need to push it out because they're not looking to contest anything. But LNG can now set their sights on the tier 1 in the top lane, and they should be able to secure this one, with Fnatic having no choices but to give it up.
That'll punch the gold even further up. Tarzan holding onto the Herald, not needing to burn that either. And look, Hung is so annoying. That guy hasn't been in lane for years. I think Gala forgot his name. He's just walking all over the map, consistently hovering around Tarzan, as we know. And now for the inner turret, threatened by the Herald getting dropped down. LNG can always threaten a dive here, Betty. That's the scary thing about this comp.
But LNG is also very respectful. They won't take risks that they don't need to. They know that they're ahead right now, and they're just going to chip away. Humanoid will cross map. Can he get this tower? Looks like he will be able to, and he's going to immediately disengage. He does have information as to where the rest of LNG are, as they secure another tower for themselves.
Cosmic shove there, good onto Hung, but they can't finish up the damage nor keep him in place. LNG make it a turret trade in the end. 3-2. Just look at this replay down towards Dragon, where they're able to find 3 quick kills.
Oh, 62 HP after the smite from Razork means that Tarzan can easily pick that one up. Humanoid was immediately forced to disengage, but he was just run down by Scout, while the other 2 members of Fnatic were chased into the blue and executed by what was a great job and ultimate from Tarzan, but that pretty much just finished the job.
Yeah.
LNG, I think, continue their performance. What you kind of saw from them in the playoffs is exactly what we're seeing from them now. Cool, calm, collected, with Scout just being the beneficiary of all these early kills and doing work with it.
I think we're also seeing what we know of Fnatic, right? If Razork's not in a position of power, if Razork doesn't have control of the game state, then for Fnatic, the direction's not there. And I think we're seeing in this game, 0-4 here has been out-jungled a bit by Tarzan.
Oh, yeah.
Hasn't been able to find that same impact that we've seen. He's such a great aggressive jungler, but unfortunately, it just hasn't been here in their debut in Swiss.
That single force on top lane just had so many consequences for the rest of the game. And LNG, 18 minutes in, 9 kills up, just short of a 4K gold lead, are keeping their pressure up, suffocating Fnatic out of their jungle, chipping away at the tier 2 tower top lane while Gala solo farms in mid. Some clean and excellent League of Legends from LNG right now. It's very clear from this game why you consider them one of the least LPL-like teams in the LPL.
That's right, man. We're not running our heads against the wall. It's not the level 2 gank. It's just concise league, as you were saying, where Scout is so strong, but at least Trimby wants to change that, but the feathers fly out. Straight away, they regret it as Tarzan dives under turret, flushes out. Great seismic shove. Razork, welcome back. He finds a kill as Fnatic are mitigating the dive. Well, LNG, a bit of a mistake. They can be controlled, but sometimes they can throw it all away. And Razork knows. Scout with the turret out's great, but the flick back's even better. Razork has woken up to the show.
Well, Trimby finds a fantastic engage. If nothing else, it buys a little bit of time for Fnatic. Will Noah know? Oh,
close.
Gala chooses to take the safer path, walks away, and goes back to base. So that's 3 kills for Fnatic. Initially, I thought this wasn't going to be good. You even called it in the team fight, right? It looks like they regret it. A good engage from Trimby. The response from Gala is immaculate. And the ultimate coming out from Scout to disengage. But then it's Razork on the flank. We've seen him make these great Talia plays before. I wasn't expecting it right there. He just kind of tore the backline apart by himself, forcing them to disengage. And kind of leaving the front line isolated to allow Fnatic to pick up a couple picks.
And I mean, finally, it's massive, right? Dragon now comes down after the replay. Fnatic move it to only 3,000 as the difference. Back in the game in some regard, but now that Baron's up, LNG on spawn are like, hey, Scout still does a quadrillion damage.
It's dead. Look at how fast that dies.
Run. Are they going to get their hung zoning out? Nope. And we are right back to square one as that's a good flick back, however. Razork now on a killing spree, but at the cost of Baron, it is still a net positive for LNG.
Yeah, I mean, they took that so fast and with such confidence. 20 minutes in, they knew how strong they were, and without any hesitation, they secured that objective, knowing that Fnatic just did the Dragon, knowing that there was a window for them to secure that objective. Great awareness on the map from LNG. And they return to a comfortable position with the gold lead.
Do indeed. 4,000 now, the Red Bull Baron power play. It begins. And just another note, I'm going to keep tracking Scout. He's close to the Sonya's Hourglass. He's got all the components. Just needs the finishing touch. And I think this is going to be it with this back here.
I think it will be. It'll be a surprise, but it's guaranteed to be locked in, surely.
A surprise?
Well, we still don't see his item. Where's the item?
I've seen the little square box.
I was looking at the bottom of my screen.
No. We've got magic down there. Look, 3rd item picked up. That's nice.
If you're an LPL fan, yeah.
Oh, well, tell me how you feel.
Sad. Do you remember I said that my eyes hurt before?
Oh, yeah?
They just bleed now.
Oh, wow.
It's just from the tears of suffering, you know, just the usual, being an EU fan.
The usual.
Just the usual.
How do you think North American fans feel, brother? At least you got something. Look at me talking from my high horse here. Well, look.
We lost to NA! But
yeah, true. That you did. Fnatic try to keep this game going. At least this LPL team is back doing what they did best earlier on. 5,000 once again. Humanoid trying to get something in the side lane. At least getting some gold from Fnatic is good. But against Baron, how much can they hold out?
Well, not for long would be my estimation.
Okay, I like that.
The range that you have on Gala and Scout should be enough. Tarzan losing a bit of HP, but he should be fine overall. Zika has the TP in top lane, so he can join if any fight should kick off. The poke, not bad from Fnatic, but I don't think it's enough.
Well, the Weaver's Wall is out, but Scout's over it. At least trying to mitigate this Baron power play. And again, it hasn't really moved from 1.3k. I mean, less than the Baron itself is worth, so Fnatic can take pride as the all-in's there. Scout shuffles back, Humanoid's caught in the middle, but that is a great magnet storm from Trimby. Welcome back, but Zika gets in with the counter-strike. They have to take him out, however, as Scout still not dead. Oscarinen at half HP, wants to re-engage, but Gala now on the wing. He flashes on him, but the cleanse is there. He'll get the kill, he'll survive, and Noah's now in trouble as the turret must go first. But Tarzan backs away. It's a messy one, but it's a 1 for 2 as Gala flashes away almost the 2 for 2.
It's a messy one, as you said. Trimby did everything he could in that situation. He did all the right things. A fantastic engage, and if Fnatic had a little more gold, maybe this fight goes very differently. But look at that engage from Scout, trying to tear Humanoid apart, but the re-engage from Trimby, Humanoid gets the first kill. LNG are forced to escape, but I think the crucial thing here is Gala rooting Oscarinen up, preventing him from getting into the fight. Good flash from Oscar, but then the cleanse from Gala, the ultimate as well to get him to safety. Just LNG kind of beating Fnatic with their wallets there.
Ugh.
But props to Fnatic. They haven't given up just yet. They're trying to find what they can. And a single fight like that could be what they need to turn the game around. But so far, they haven't quite been able to find it.
But Vettis, you know what I think they need? They need Scout, they need Gala, they need one of those big shutdowns. Look at the value of Scout on that Azir.
Oh, yeah.
You take him down, you take away a big source of the damage in this game, and LNG might be left a bit stranded. And remember that Fnatic are also the one with double Dragon. They've got a bit of the mountain of stats as well, as in 30 seconds, it looks like they're going to contest, as they're just waiting for Scout to misstep. But the problem about our MVP is he rarely does.
Yeah, it's annoying. Scout's really good. Really, really, really good. 14 seconds on this Dragon. Scout suffocating Fnatic out of this choke point. They're going to try and find a way through mid lane. They have the push now, but immediately LNG respond. Gala's there to catch the wave. LNG move into that choke point, and look at what they're doing. They're using numbers to zone Fnatic away from the choke itself. So even if they want to try and contest LNG, they kind of have to walk into the feathers, into Scout, and it's such a difficult thing to do. Dragon secured, uncontested. The wall comes down from Razork as Fnatic tried to get themselves a tower.
But does that wall cost them? Oscar in a bit of trouble. Zeka's looking for the 1v1. The rest of Fnatic getting engaged on, or at least looked at once again. They have the inside track to mid, but the minion wave thinned out as Tarzan goes the all-in, but misses. Cataclysm's down, but Razork survives. Meanwhile, on the back of it, Trimmy gets a Magnus Storm, but no one's hit Gala. No one can hit Scout. LNG are looking for the finishing touches, and just while Fnatic were looking closer to bringing this back, they are separated. That blast going a little bit troll, but over the wall, Scout is legendary with Gala looking for another kill. He ults out. Next is Razork, and ladies and gentlemen, LNG return to the powerhouse.
Some of these fights look so close for Fnatic, but they're just too far behind. Scout will pick up another one. Humanoid is the last man standing. The gold gap continues to increase. 9-0-4 is the scoreline for Scout. Honestly, Tarzan, he over-aggressed there. I know he had the stopwatch to buy time, but I think he went in way too deep. And it could have been a very dangerous fight for LNG, but the backline make it work. They're largely untouched, and you'll see it here. Tarzan sees an opportunity, flashes in, gets stunned up, takes so much damage, and then this engage on Trimmy onto the backline is good, but he's isolated. He doesn't actually create the space that he wants to, as Zika now gains access onto the backline. Humanoid is chased away, and Fnatic are just forced to retreat.
That blast cone almost sending Noah to his doom as well. But from over the wall, Scout gets his 9th kill. And LNG, let's have another one. We're at 7,000 gold lead. Scout, his total damage, far and above Zika, who was already far and above Razork. And as you were saying, Betty, I mean, there were some great moments from Fnatic. I think we can't discount the fact that Fnatic here in this game, there were some great elements of coming back in. Razork as well with his pick potential was huge. But the problem is that no one's capitalized. No one's gotten that gold off of Scout, off of Gala. And there's always another element of engage, and that's a problem with Spear Shojin too.
Yeah,
Flag and drags up every 3 seconds or something.
I think the problem is that these plays have just come in too late, right?
Yeah.
And that single force in top lane, I think, had such a cascading effect in how it set up Scout for success. Level 16 for him, level 16 for Gala. Level 17 for Zika. He is hovering around in this interim, now moving over towards mid, playing on 2 lanes. I like what LNG is trying to do here, chip away at the towers, and again, calm, patient play from LNG. To a degree, it can feel slow, but they're sub 30 minutes right now.
Yep.
They've been commanding, they've been decisive, and they've been clean.
We talked about the comp, right? You know, you've got Xayah, you've got Azir. Look at the elements of play that they can choose to play from. As Zika goes between, there's a Weaver's Wall to separate, but LNG have flag, drags, and the thank you, ma'ams. The charms there, knocked up. Trimby is in a bouncy castle, but he ain't 4 years old. That man gets out of there straight away, but Scout again! That's our MVP, but as he goes golden, Fnatic are trying to get the shutdown. Zika jumps back in, Scout still lives, Gala lives, everyone from LNG sitting there. The man who's a pentakill king is looking down 2 more. A triple in the bag as Razork tries to do it again, at least getting one onto Zika. The feathers are out, the inhibitor down, Razork next up, but Scout takes it, and he deserves it. A double for the mid lane legend, and LNG hold up to their name. They won't be dropping to EU second seed. They'll be holding the LPL rep high as it flies today.
3 LPL teams find themselves victorious today, and LNG do it in commanding fashion, sub 30 minutes.
Yep.
But this was a perfect representation of how LNG play. Patient, collected, and just, they are phenomenal at punishing your mistakes. The way that the whole team reacts to anything is just fantastic. It feels like that their eyes are glued to the minimap at all times with the way in which they move around the map and they find opportunities. This is going to be a scary team to play against because how do you beat them? You don't make mistakes.
That's right. Even when they make some themselves, they then go back to that very easy approach of gameplay that we talked about. There was that dive topside where it was a little bit back and forth, a little bit clumsy, Razork punished, but how many more moments were there like that? I mean, LNG, their windows into the game are few and far between. There's a lot of people saying this is our second best team. I think in moments in this game you can see why, and you can see why Scout is such a legend. Like, this is our best mid laner, or at least one of our best here at Worlds.
I definitely agree. Been super impressed with what we've seen from Scout. His debut performance, I think it was 11-0-7, the final scoreline. He did not die. And there's a reason why so many people regard him as one of the best mids at the tournament. Maybe even